Oh, wow. Donald Trump could really use some Donald Trump in his life.
You're right now not in a very good position.
You're
It's going to be a
gambling
very
with the
hard
lives
thing to
of
do
millions of
business
people.
like this.
You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
For the American people to see what's going on.
Only if that was the actual case, as of course there is an ongoing MAGA civil war, as of course the same people predicted there would be one, and there is. It's just along the same political line, as of course we now mull over the biggest decision of Donald Trump's political career ever, as he is waiting right now in the Situation Room with the doomsday plane standing nearby about what he will be doing next. As of course, there might be one saving grace that could actually prevent this major attack and escalation from going forward. What is that? We're going to be discussing that and a lot more here on this independent media broadcast, as well as discussing the very tumultuous, crazy, wild, bombastic situation unfolding on social media, as there's a lot of very underhanded type of activities right now that deserve to be called out. If you appreciate these type of nuanced conversations that actually allow people to, change their mind, show growth, have some reflection, show the ability to actually adapt to new types of information and not just to be blindly tied to dogmas, subscribe. Click the notification button, as right now we are still waiting to see what Donald Trump decides here. As he says, no one knows what I will be doing. The decision will be made seconds, and then I will do it. What will he do? Potentially start bombing offensively Iran, as the United States is already involved in the defenses of Israel, preventing retaliation from the country that Israel did a surprise attack against. Now, what will Donald Trump be choosing here? As a lot of people are asking the question, hey, the fact that we're even in this position highlights how Trump no longer is the peacemaker that he promised to be here. As a lot of people, including even Alex Jones, are saying, what I voted for, this is what I got. As the comparisons to George W. Bush and the neocons are very evident now, especially with the new close inner circle that Donald Trump is surrounding himself while ousting the likes of Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, and also allegedly, according to some reports, Tulsi Gabbard, that he is mad about. As right now, he's mulling over the use of B-2 bombers, bunker busters, that according to a lot of the sources, according to the people I talked to, he has already agreed to move forward with. But there is one thing that could potentially prevent this attack. We'll tell you what that is in a little bit. But before that, there is a MAGA civil war on our hands here, as the Daily Mail has this article. Trump launches secret bid to end MAGA civil war and lure key allies on board with Iran strikes. As vast majority of the people are saying no. This is ridiculous. This is just like the Iraq war. This is just like George W. Bush. This is not working in our favor here. There's going to be consequences for these type of actions that we are going to be paying the price for. We're paying for all the missiles. We're paying for the defense. We're paying for all the ammunition already for the Israelis. Now you want us to directly involve ourselves, which would endanger American troops, make the price of energy go up, probably block the Strait of Hormuz, and now make the United States a target by the Iranians that, of course, never previously thought about striking us, because it would mean that they would be wiped off the map. This is the kind of propaganda that Trump and Bibi are now kind of issuing, saying, no, Iran was going to strike New York. What? If they did that, they would be annihilated. They wouldn't exist. They wouldn't be on a map. They would be a parking lot if they did that. And they understand that. Why would someone retroactively do that to themselves here? It doesn't make any sense here at all. And Donald Trump, with his aides, trying to stop this and trying to get people on board for this conflict, I think it's not going to work here. As the Associated Press is reporting that a split from MAGA world, as Trump is now weighing his steps with some of his top stars rebuking him. MTG rebuked him. Matt Gaetz rebuked him. And then, of course, on the other side, you have a lot of people going a little crazy, like Laura Loomer, as she just posted, Tucker Carlson is not living in reality. And again, the underhanded type of very cheap shots and attacks here by a lot of the people who don't want war. A lot of the people who are non-interventionists, they're being slandered, they're being attacked. And as Tim Pool mentions, there's a lot of dirty, underhanded tactics being used right now to smear non-interventionist voices, anti-interventionist voices. And he sarcastically says, I was wrong about war. I'm pro-war now. And as it's really dirty, it's really just disgusting out there to see the kind of low-life behavior exhibited by some of these people that are just foaming at the mouth, bloodthirsty, and just going fully insane, saying, we're going to keep a list on you. We're going to tell Donald Trump. I hope Donald Trump punishes you. For what? Trying to make sure that Donald Trump keeps his campaign promise? To make sure that Trump is a peacemaker? To make sure that lives are saved here? Really? That's the situation that we're dealing with. Of course, there's a lot of other things that are happening behind the scenes that I can't talk about now. But it's fair to assume we're under attack. We appreciate your support during these attacks. And before getting into more of the news, we wanted to tell you about lookUnfiltered.com. It's our own secret, not so secret society, our own members area. You get to talk to other members, other like-minded individuals, and you also get to meet them. We're going to be doing a meetup July 9th in Milwaukee. And then we're going to be doing another meetup in Miami, July 13th. So 2 meetups in the same week just for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. Signing up is less than 20 cents a day. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and it's truly something that I appreciate. Because if it wasn't for this, we would have been canceled a long time ago. We were canceled. We had our YouTube channel taken down. We had our T-shirt store taken down. We had advertiser boycotts. We had just huge online social media companies just totally boycott us and say, no, you can't even mention these people. You can't even talk about these people. Us. And the only thing that has really allowed us to still be here, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for LukeUnfiltered.com. So for you that click the link and are generous enough to do 20 cents a day, click here, fill in a little bit of your information. You get emailed back a login. Check your spam. Our emails somehow still go to spam. I don't understand why. You get that login, you come back in here, and you're able to log in, and you're able to be a part of the discussion. If you could sign up for 15, great. If you could sign up for more, that'd be awesome. We appreciate your generosity more than you know. And I want to expand. I want to grow. I want to build. And we could do that together. You guys in the chat room are like, hey, you should do this. I'm like, I'll think about it. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. So you got direct access to me, direct access to other people that are like-minded, and one of many perks just by simply signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. So if you haven't done that yet, do that right now. And I will see you in our private Telegram group chat right now. Okay. Let's continue on the conversation here because I think it's pretty important to describe what will happen here. As Loomer says, true MAGA will always defend President Trump. No, that's called a cult. Okay? If you're drinking the Kool-Aid and let's just say the king goes crazy, you're going to fully support it? No. Like, you're supposed to, in our system, you're supposed to have scruples. You're not supposed to be a brown noser. You're not supposed to be a bootlegger. You're not supposed to worship and obey politicians. Politicians work for you. You don't work for politicians. That's how the system works. But it's only because of these fanatical, crazy, insane people that a lot of the cult of personality begins, and then power starts to, of course, corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That only happens because of people who worship power and worship individuals in power. You should worship yourself. You should respect yourself. You should have high esteem and high respect for yourself as a human being. Your wants, your needs, my wants. I don't want my money used to bomb other people. That doesn't make me anti-American or anti-Semitic or hateful, racist, bigot. No. Or fearmonger. No. As this debate here is going off, Candace Owens, also another anti-war voice, has been attacked a lot throughout the years. And Laura Loomer says, you're a very dishonest person. And again, lots of memes out there. As she responded to Laura, saying, "Laura, this is boring. I'm not worshiping Netanyahu in AIPAC, even if Trump commands it. Hope this helps." And the two are going back and forth. A lot of people are going back and forth. One team, Laura Loomer, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Dave Rubin, Ted Cruz. They want more war. The other team, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Ron Paul, Matt Gaetz, MTG, no more war. There's also Thomas Macy. There's a bunch of other people. I just decided to do a little starting five here. Everyone's like, Thomas Macy, different Dave Smith, Tom Woods, Scott Horton, Andrew Napolitano. Yeah, all good people who just, Jared Salente, all good people. And I'm like, no more war. Absolutely. As this war's major fight was between Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz decided to highlight an old Atlantic article where Tucker Carlson was previously for the war in Iran. The reason he's not is because he sold the American public the war in Iraq. When he did that so enthusiastically and so happily, he knew that there were later on unintended consequences that led to tremendous human suffering that he was a part of, that he feels a lot of karma about. Rightfully so. Now, Mark Levin, also another person, never Trumper before. That's just coming out, just totally fanatical, totally crazy, wild, insane takes here. USA Today, it's blowing up. The Iran conflict is sparking a MAGA civil war. As Trump weighs next steps on Iran, there's a big debate among MAGA figures like Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, and MTG over potential military action. Yeah, we didn't vote for military action. We didn't vote for more wars. We didn't vote for America first to be told to us that it's whatever they want to say and do whatever they decided to. Okay, it's guiding principles about taking care of America, its people, and its interests. There's no legitimate argument made by these pro-war chicken hawks that have never fought a war themselves. There's no argument there that this somehow helps us because it's our money being spent away here. We're dealing with financial constraints that are pretty bad. It's our national security, right? We're gonna be now dealing with Shiite radical Islamists. We were dealing with Sunni radical Islamists that we were paying before, by the way. Interesting how that worked out. That spurred on through, of course, the Iraq War. Now Shia-based terrorism. Great. Why should we put our lives at risk next on the line when this situation could be de-escalated? It just doesn't make any sense at all unless you think there might be a potential compromise effort, which, again, I'm starting to believe could be potentially true here. As Donald Trump spoke about this, and he reiterated, my supporters are America first, and America first is what I make it.
Have you seen the Tucker Carlson and Senator Ted Cruz interview? It seems like this issue on whether or not the United States should strike is kind of dividing a lot of your supporters.
No, my supporters are for me. My supporters are America first. They make America great again. My supporters don't want to see Iran have a nuclear weapon.
I doubt that. That's not what we're seeing. Not what we're seeing a lot. There's like a couple fanatical, crazy poor warmongers and probably a whole bunch of government bots from Israel that want it. But other than that, no. The vast majority of your base is saying, no, this is insane. This is crazy. There's no reason for... Who cares? We don't care. Pakistan has a nuclear weapon. We don't care. We never did any... We never bombed Pakistan when they were getting their nuclear weapon. It's a Muslim majority country. People say it's an unhinged Muslim minority country. But it's mutually assured destruction here, okay? That's the theory that's being discussed here. And let's be honest with ourselves. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, they probably would have not been attacked here. And it would have prevented a war from happening.
Tucker's a nice guy. He called and apologized the other day because he thought he said things that were a little bit too strong. And I appreciated that. And Ted Cruz is a nice guy. I mean, he's been with me for a long time. I'd say once the race was over, he's been with me ever since, right? But very simple. If they think that it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon, then they should oppose me. But nobody thinks it's okay. People that don't want... I don't want to fight either. I'm not looking to fight. But if it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do.
Now, do they have a nuclear weapon? Were they building a nuclear weapon? Again, all of that is up in contention. It's the whole Iraq war. Oh no, they said the same thing about Saddam. Saddam's building a nuclear weapon. He's going to use it on America. What happened there? Now, listen, say what you may about these kind of like strong-armed leaders, right? A lot of people argue that with the kind of sectarian mix-up of the Middle East, you kind of need that in order to hold a country, okay? Whether you agree with it or not, there's a lot of different theories out there about how to approach this situation. But it's clear that the old way that we were dealing with this, like in Iraq, like we're doing now, like we're repeating, didn't work. And it's not going to work.
Maybe we won't have to fight. Don't forget, we haven't been fighting. We add a certain amount of genius to everything, but we haven't been fighting at all. Israel's done a very good job of that.
Israel's only doing that because they have our missiles, our weapons, our intelligence, and we've been paying them and giving them everything here. They've been doing a good job because they're a proxy to us. Some people would argue the inverse of that.
But we'll see what happens. The bottom line is they can't have nuclear. And if I can't imagine that Ted Cruz said it's okay for Iran to have nuclear, including Tucker. I don't think Tucker says it's okay. The problem is then they get themselves into a thing. They don't want them to have nuclear, but then they say, well, we don't want to fight. Well, you're going to have to make a choice because it's possible that you're going to have to fight for them not to have nuclear. And it's interesting because I did ask Tucker, I said, well, are you okay with nuclear weapons being in the hands of Iran? And he sort of didn't like that. He didn't want to really, but he sort of didn't like that. And I said, well, if it's okay with you, then you and I do have a difference. But it's really not okay with him. Therefore, you may have to fight. And maybe it'll end, and maybe it'll end very quickly.
Okay, we've been told. Iraq war, in and out. We're going to be greeted as liberators. We're just going to bomb them. It's going to be great. How many years were we there? Afghanistan. Quick surgical strike. Surgical. How long were we in there? How did that work out? It didn't. They always, every single war. It's going to be quick and simple, guys. We're going to watch it. Quick and easy. It's going to be great. Easy peasy, baby. Let's go. Yeah. Going on in. Spread freedom and democracy. And then we kind of look back at like, holy cow, how much money did we spend on this? How much money are we spending on this, by the way? Why hasn't anyone asked that question? How much money are we spending right now on this endeavor? Fuel's getting more expensive now. How much military equipment are we sending down there? How much aid and assistance? 20,000 missiles? How much does 20,000 missiles that we just gave Israel cost, that we took away from Ukraine? How much does the anti-drone system and the anti-missile system that we just took away from Ukraine, how much does that cost?
But there's no way that you can allow, whether you have to fight or not, you can allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon because the entire world will blow up. Not going to let that happen.
Yeah. By doing this, you kind of bring us closer towards, and I hate to say this because it's so hyperbolic, but you bring us closer towards the world blowing up. I don't want the world to blow up. Obviously, that's the case here, an argument here. To somehow think and to theorize, Iran gets a nuclear weapon. They use it right away. Why? Why would they blow themselves off of the map? Why would they make themselves a parking lot? It's mutually assured destruction then. And then, that, of course, that would have prevented other countries from attacking them. Okay? That's probably one of the few reasons the Pakistan-Indian war ended, because they're like, hey, we keep going, it's going to be bad. If Ukraine never gave up their nuclear weapons, Russia probably would have never attacked them. Let's just be real with ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? The reason America and the USSR never attacked each other because there was the mutually assured destruction. We bomb each other, it's over for the world. And they used the little proxies and they used little armies in order to do that. And right now, we're doing that. Ukraine doesn't have nukes, war. Iran doesn't have nukes, war. Where else are we going to have war soon? I don't know. Pakistan's talking about getting involved here. The whole situation is a mess. I pray for peace. Now, the one thing that could potentially save us is the fact that Donald Trump is asking a lot of questions about these B-2 bunker busters. almost forgot to tell you guys this. I teased it like 2 times, and I feel horrible. Sorry. I apologize. One of the things that might actually save us from all of this is the fact that these bunker busters might not be enough to take out the underground facilities for the Iranians. And because of that, if these bunker busters are used and they failed to achieve their objectives, the United States looks like a failure here. That is one of the reasons why these actions could be delayed and why they might not go forward. Because, again, the Iranians could have dug themselves a lot deeper, and they could have set up a lot more defensive perimeters, and they could make it a lot more difficult for the United States to actually be successful with these bunker busters. And if they don't work, Donald Trump is not going to use them because it's going to make them look like a failure. That's the only thing saving us right now. That's the only thing preventing the United States from taking an offensive action, as it has already taken a defensive action here. The fact that the strikes might not be successful. And if they're not successful, I don't see Donald Trump doing them. And the tech might not just be there. I think that's the truth here. And that's why these attacks might not be going forward. What do you think is going to be happening from here? Let me know down in the comment section below. I always appreciate your constructive criticism. I always appreciate your ability to have an honest, earnest conversation with me. And if you do as well and you think this message is important, share it with your friends and family members. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.